year or so ago without any rain. So it didn't rain up until July last year. So from October in 23, they didn't get any recordable rainfall until July 24. That's why a lot of the trees and a lot of the gardens are still suffering from that very dry spell. That was all throughout the southwestern region. So we just have to make our way around some of the suburban streets. They've done a major redevelopment of the main street of Busselton, and that just means any heavy vehicles or long vehicles just have to go through some of the little suburban streets. This is one of those nature roadways, getting the local possums across the roadway and across the river. Normally see a bunch of pigeons hanging out during the day. The ringtail possums only come out in the evening. I think they like to send the coaches this way so they can brush all the dirt and cobwebs off the roof of the coach. As we go through some of these trees, you'll notice they brush off a lot of the dirt from the roof. And then we've got the Busselton Bowling Club and Croquet Club out to our right hand side. One of the last remaining in WA with grass, with real grass. A lot of bowling greens throughout WA have been converted to artificial turf. The state government offered a program of grants a few years ago where the clubs could put in their application, and that saves a lot of money and a lot of time for volunteers to tend to the greens. So even very small towns with only populations of less than 100 will have beautiful artificial turf for their bowling greens. A very popular caravan park on our left, the Foreshore Caravan Park. Goes through a whole series of groups that come down here. So this time of year it's mainly families with school-age, sort of younger children will come down and spend time down here when the other kids have gone back to school. And then after that group have left, the migration of the grey nomads starts. So the grey nomads make their way down here to the southwest during the warmer months, and then as soon as it starts getting a little bit chilly, they start migrating up to places like Broome and Kununurra in the north. So that's the beautiful Busselton foreshore out to our right hand side. Got the old historic Esplanade Hotel here on the left. That's been restored beautifully over the last few years. So we're going to be down here for close to an hour. So I have plenty of time to have a look around the foreshore. Again, if you want to go out onto the jetty, there is a fee that needs to be paid. I'm not sure what it is, sorry, I haven't done a tour out to the jetty for quite a while. We don't normally get more than half an hour here. There will be time to go to one of the local cafes if you wanted to get a morning tea, coffee or something to eat. Lunch will normally be served about 12:30, so it's a couple of hours away still. And there's the jetty in front of us. You'll see there's a glass plaque, and then the jetty sort of starts a little bit further to the right. And that's because the original start of the jetty was damaged during a cyclone that came down here in the mid-1970s, which is a long way south than normal. and then a few years after that a fire further damaged it. So they did have to knock down the first initial section, but it still joins in with the original railway start of the jetty. There's a bathroom facility just on the left hand side at the back of the cafe there. Then you got the beautiful foreshore here along to our left.
Lots of fun for the kids.
It's wild.
Yeah. Oh, there goes the seagulls. Very nice. Oh wow, look at that sand. Gee, that looks lovely. And then look how thoughtful that is with all that shade got there. Wow. And there's the famous Busselton jetty.
After every heat, he's come over and said,
It's nice white sand, isn't it? So you can do your fishing and clean your fish in the sink here. The kids play area in the water over there. Look at down there, look at pontoon. Look at it, it goes right out the very back there. You don't have time to walk down that way, that far. Oh, fish are jumping around over here.
Oh, you have to catch a stick.
wow, look at them.
Oh, they're going for mine. There's a skippy.
I don't know if the video is picking that up. What sort of fish are they?
They're skippy.
Skippies. What are skippies?
Yeah.
The little ones, these little ones are trumpeters.
Oh, okay.
I keep them there for a cat.
Yeah, they're not very good at eating, but there's loads of them, so we just catch them for fun.
The fun for catching.
Yeah, then we give them to the cat for dinner. She loves them.
Oh wow, they're quite big, aren't they?
She's like, oh, these aren't very good because we normally catch skippy off our boat and snapper off our boat, and then we give her some snapper.
That was good.
There's a couple of thousand people. There's a new school development. There's a big shopping centre, a light industrial area. It's a very, very popular spot now. You can still get a house and land here for just around the $500,000 mark. And when you consider that you're only a 10-minute drive to the beach, and your access to, again, the airport up to the Perth area. But if you look out to the right-hand side, you might see a little statue there of young Thomas Vass, looking out to sea, well, probably wondering where his shipmates have gone to. Now we're getting an extra little...
Oh, this one with the green roof.
Making the land-based block, which I like stuff. Little bricks.
Yeah. Like a vessel block, the holes in it.
I always find it quite funny how close we do build houses here over here in the west. We have a shortage of land apparently. We're only 1/3 of Australia, so we don't appear to have any spare land. We have to build the houses within arm's reach. It does save you though if you need a cup of sugar from your neighbour. Saves you walking around. You can just reach through to their kitchen and be handed the cup of sugar. I live just outside of the metro area, small little town. I'm lucky I deliberately moved out there so I could have more than 1,000 square metre block. I don't like my neighbours being too close, they hear too much.
Wonder them how many little like water tanks. Pretty houses though.
A kangaroo. We'll see a few more kangaroos later in the day, no doubt.
There's one of those blue trees coming up. Mental health.
they went 220 days with no recordable rainfall, and it was in May last year that a lot of the farmers and also the winery owners were bringing water down from Perth. So that was the first time that most of them could ever remember having to bring or cart water down to the properties.
It's going too quick, you can't see anything. One lone caravan there. Cattle. And then there was horses back at the other place.
As I said, we're heading now for the Delarte Estate. You'll have the opportunity to taste a few on their wine road. And it's one of the oldest tourism drives for WA. They've been operating tours of the caves along here for about 120 years. People would travel down from Perth to the little town of Yellingup to a hotel called Caves House. And Caves House is still in operation today. And then from Caves House you would make your way along the Caves Road, and then we'd go doing some exploring. Back in the early days though, it was more about putting the harnesses on. You'd have to take a lantern with you, climb down a network of rope ladders and climb on right through the caves. It's a little bit more civilized now. The cave we're going to is called Mammoth Cave. There's about 560, 570 stairs inside Mammoth Cave. So it is one of the largest in the area. So we're just turning onto Caves Road now, around WA or Australia. And then Woodlands over here on the right hand side. That was established in 1979. Wines that still have the label of port on them. They were produced before
Growling estate.
rules changed as being able to pull things port as opposed to fortified wines. Yeah, so in June last year, this lake or dam system just here was just about dry. And then when I came back down here in, I think it was September, it was just about overflowing. It was up at the level of the little jetty they've got. Grapevines, some of the grapevines here were planted at the same time as Vas Felix. So the owner, the starter of Vas Felix was a Dr. Tom Cullity, and he purchased a section of the Cullens property of his good friend and fellow surgeon, one of the Cullens children, when it was decided that the area would be great for growing vines. The Cullens family have been farming in the Margaret River region since about 1835. So when it was decided that grapes would go well down here, they sold this corner of the property. So just coming up on our left hand side now is Vas Felix. So their first bottle produced was in 1967. And then they've got the roadway that's just recently been changed to Tom Cullity Drive after that initial surgeon that started the vineyard down here. But the Cullens still own about 3,500 acres of farmland in, so that's about 10 years in.
Tasmanian
So that's
blue
about
gum.
10 years worth of growth. It takes about 20 years to grow the Tasmanian blue gum to a usable size. Gracetown gets its name from one of the nieces of the Bussell family.
Little grapevines.
Young Grace Bussell was 16 years old when she and a worker named Santa, he was their indigenous worker on one of their farms along the coast here. They were riding their horses along a beach called Redgate Beach. So again, that's a few kilometres to our south, when they noticed a ship sinking only about 100 metres or so off the point on a pretty notorious reef. And young 16-year-old Grace got on a horse and rode out to the sinking vessel and managed to keep swimming out with the horse and dragging people back as often as she could, and until everyone on the ship was saved. She would swim them back into the shallows, where Sam would then drag them back up onto the beach. And between the two of them, they managed to save everyone on the vessel. And so the Bussell family decided to name the little township that had just started being built down in a little place called Corrimup Bay. They named it after her, so that's how we get Gracetown. She was also awarded a Silver Medal of Bravery from the UK government. And then about a year or so later, the West Australian government decided that they better honour her, and they named a lake and a new township out in the central wheatbelt after her as well. So there's a town called Lake Grace.
So Margaret River
She
was
eventually
named
came
after
out
one
a
of
few
the
years
aunties of
after
the
the Bussell
Bussell family.
brothers had settled in the area, and she came out from the UK to assist in all of the housekeeping that was required, that the four brothers probably weren't able to do themselves.
Well, bushland around here as well.
Now, I'm not sure what everyone's expecting, but it's definitely not the same as the Murray River in the east. We don't get paddle steamers going up and down the river. In fact, only a year ago, the river itself was essentially dry at this section of the river. So there was a very, very small trickle going through, but there's definitely not the big flowing river that some people expect. So just at the bottom of this hill, we'll cross over the mighty Margaret River. So this is the Margaret River. It is fairly dry again. So the part of the reason why it is dry is that, well, one, we're having a fairly dry, hot summer again. But there is a dam system just up on the other side of the township, so about 6 or 7 kilometres to our left. They have got a dam on the river itself, and it still provides water, about 30% of the drinking water to the Margaret River Township. And it has been in place for the last probably 100 years. The locals always find it funny about it being Margaret River. They all call it Maggie's Creek. So it's not the big river that people tend to expect because of the fame of the name.